June 19th, 2011, a Swedish diving team descends 300 feet into the freezing waters of the Baltic Sea. Their equipment begins to malfunction. Cameras flicker, sonar goes haywire, and then complete electrical failure. What they found down there has baffled scientists for over a decade. A massive object, perfectly circular, sitting in a crater on the ocean floor. An object that, according to geology, according to physics, according to everything we know, shouldn't be there. This is the Baltic Sea Anomaly. And the more we learn about it, the less sense it makes. Our story begins with Ocean X Team, a Swedish treasure hunting company led by Peter Lindberg and Dennis Osberg. For years, they'd been scanning the Baltic Sea floor, searching for shipwrecks, lost cargo, anything valuable from centuries of maritime history. The Baltic Sea is a graveyard. Over 100,000 wrecks rest on its floor. So when their sonar pinged something unusual on June 19th, 2011, they expected another old ship. Instead, they found this. At a depth of 87 meters, roughly 285 feet, their side-scan sonar revealed something that made them stop everything. A circular object, approximately 60 meters in diameter, that's about 200 feet across. For scale, that's larger than a commercial airliner, but it wasn't just the size. Look at this sonar image closely. The object appears to have geometric features, straight lines, right angles, what looks like a staircase or ramp leading up to it, and most bizarre, what appears to be a 300-meter track or trail behind it, as if something massive had been dragged across the seafloor and came to rest here. Peter Lindberg's first words when seeing this: "It looks like the Millennium Falcon." He was joking, but the internet wasn't. Within days, the image went viral. The speculation began. An Ocean X team realized they'd stumbled onto something that would consume the next decade of their lives. June 2012. 1 year after the discovery, Ocean X team returns with proper equipment, cameras, and a plan to finally see this thing up close. Lead diver Stefan Hagerborn enters the water. Everything is functioning normally. The descent begins. At 50 meters, the water temperature drops sharply. At 70 meters, visibility decreases. At 80 meters, the satellite phone dies. The cameras start glitching. Their electrical equipment begins shutting down randomly. Stefan later described it like this: "Anything electric out there, and the satellite phone as well, stopped working when we were above the object. Then we got away about 200 meters, and it turned on again." Think about what that means. This isn't interference. Interference degrades signals. This is a complete failure of electronic devices in a roughly 300-meter radius around the object. A dead zone. Professional diving equipment is built to withstand extreme conditions. Deep sea pressure, saltwater corrosion, electromagnetic interference from ships and submarines. These devices don't just shut off unless something down there is actively affecting them. But it gets stranger. The divers' handheld sonar equipment, which had worked perfectly on dozens of previous dives, returned bizarre readings when pointed at the object. The echoes didn't make sense. It was as if the sonar waves were being absorbed or scattered in impossible directions. One team member described it as sonar reflective in ways that shouldn't be possible with natural rock formations. Despite the equipment failures, they managed to bring back something. Photographs, video footage, and physical samples. And what they showed was even more disturbing than the sonar images. The object isn't smooth. It's not a perfect disc. Up close, it looks ancient, weathered, covered in what appears to be soot or volcanic rock. But here's what caught everyone's attention. The geometric features are real. There are straight edges, sharp angles, what appears to be a carved stairway, each step roughly 8 meters wide, leading up the side of the formation. Natural geology doesn't create staircases. Team member Dennis Osberg brought back samples of the rock. He described finding strange, rounded stones that looked like they'd been placed in formations, blackened as if burned at extremely high temperatures. They also found what they described as a fireplace structure, a circular depression with scorched stones arranged around it. At 300 feet underwater, in the Baltic Sea, the samples were sent to laboratories, and this is where things get complicated. Geologist Steve Weiner at the Weizmann Institute analyzed the samples. His conclusion? The rocks were primarily granite and sandstone, common in the Baltic region. Nothing unusual about the composition itself. But then came the second round of analysis. Volcanologist Goran Ekberg examined the samples and found something the first analysis missed. Layers of limonite and guthite, iron oxide formations that typically form in very specific conditions. Conditions that don't match the current Baltic Sea environment. And here's the critical detail. The samples showed signs of extreme heat exposure. Temperatures that would require either volcanic activity or something artificial. The Baltic Sea hasn't had volcanic activity for millions of years, and it's been underwater for at least 140,000 years since the last ice age. So what burned these rocks? Let's talk about what this could be, because every explanation has problems. Theory 1. Natural geological formation. The mainstream scientific explanation is that this is a glacial deposit. During the Ice Age, massive glaciers moved across this region, carrying rocks and debris. When they melted, they dropped these materials in unusual formations. This would explain the size, the placement, and even the trail behind it, which could be glacial scarring. But it doesn't explain several things. The geometric features. Glaciers don't carve staircases. The burn marks at extreme temperatures. The electromagnetic dead zone. The sonar reflective properties that don't match known rock formations. Geologists have studied thousands of glacial deposits. None of them look like this. None of them shut down electronic equipment. Theory 2. Ancient structure. Some researchers believe this could be a man-made structure from a civilization that existed before the area was submerged. The Baltic Sea wasn't always there. During the last ice age, this was land. Humans lived in northern Europe during this period. Could this be the remains of an ancient settlement? A temple? A fortress? The staircase-like features support this. The arranged stones support this. The circular shape could be intentional architecture, but here's the problem. The oldest known megalithic structures, like Göbekli Tepe, are about 11,000 years old. This area has been underwater for over 140,000 years. That would make this structure older than any known human civilization. We're talking pre-modern human in some cases, unless the dating is wrong, unless this area was above water more recently than we think. But that would rewrite our understanding of post-glacial sea level rise. Theory 3, crashed object. And then there's the theory that won't go away, that this is something that came from above. The circular shape, the trail behind it as if something crashed and skidded across the ocean floor, the burn marks, the electrical interference. Could this be a crashed craft of some kind? Before you dismiss this, consider the electromagnetic dead zone is consistent with certain types of materials and power sources. The sonar reflective properties suggest this isn't ordinary rock. The burn patterns indicate extreme heat, like atmospheric re-entry. The Ocean X team has stated publicly they don't know what it is, but several team members have said it doesn't look natural. Diver Peter Lindbergh said, "I was surprised when I saw how the walls were and how straight the angles were. It's not like any rock formation I've ever seen." Of course, there's zero proof this is anything other than a geological formation. But it's worth noting that if you were designing a craft to withstand extreme conditions, a disc shape with a wide diameter would be incredibly stable. And if something did crash here thousands of years ago, being covered in sediment and marine growth would be expected. Here's where this story takes a darker turn. After the 2012 expedition, Ocean X Team announced plans for a major follow-up. More dives, better equipment, detailed mapping of the entire object. They launched a crowdfunding campaign. Documentary filmmakers got involved. Scientists from multiple countries expressed interest in studying the samples. And then, silence. For months, nothing. The team stopped giving updates. The documentary was delayed, then seemingly abandoned. Follow-up expeditions were postponed indefinitely. When the team finally spoke publicly again, their tone had changed. They were more cautious, less willing to speculate. Some team members seemed uncomfortable discussing it. Conspiracy theorists jumped on this. Claims emerged that the team had been warned off, that governments didn't want this investigated, that the Swedish military had classified the location. Now let's be clear, there's no evidence of any official cover-up. The team has stated that funding and logistics were the main issues. Deep sea exploration is incredibly expensive, but some details are odd. Multiple team members have mentioned in interviews that they were discouraged from further investigation, though they won't say by whom. Some samples that were sent for analysis apparently disappeared in transit, and at least one lab that was analyzing materials suddenly refused to discuss their findings. The location of the anomaly is also interesting. It sits in international waters, but very close to Swedish and Russian maritime boundaries. The Baltic Sea is one of the most militarily sensitive areas in Europe. If this were simply a rock formation, why would anyone care about continued investigation? Or maybe it's exactly what it appears to be. A fascinating geological mystery that simply ran out of money and public interest. You decide. The story didn't end in 2012. Over the years, several independent researchers and diving teams have attempted to reach the anomaly. In 2016, a Finnish expedition team claimed to have conducted additional sonar scans. Their data reportedly confirmed the geometric features and added new details, what appears to be a hollow chamber or cavity inside the object. A hollow cavity inside a natural rock formation. This information wasn't widely publicized, and the full data hasn't been released, which of course adds to the mystery. In 2018, a group of marine archaeologists petitioned the Swedish government for permission to conduct a comprehensive survey of the site using advanced underwater robotics. The request was denied. The official reason? Environmental concerns about disturbing the seabed. But here's the most recent development. In 2023, satellite imaging technology advanced enough to potentially map the seafloor in this region was deployed by a private research company. They were specifically looking to create detailed maps of the area around the anomaly. According to unconfirmed reports, their imagery showed not one, but possibly two additional objects nearby, both with similar circular profiles. This information hasn't been peer-reviewed. The company hasn't released the full data, but if true, it would suggest this isn't an isolated formation. It would suggest a pattern. Let's strip away the speculation and focus on the confirmed facts. Fact: there is a large circular object on the Baltic Sea floor at approximately 60 meters in diameter. Fact: the object has geometric features that appear artificial or at least highly unusual for natural rock formations. Fact: electronic equipment malfunctions in the immediate vicinity of the object. Multiple independent teams have reported this. Fact: rock samples from the site show signs of extreme heat exposure inconsistent with the current environment. Fact: standard geological explanations don't fully account for all the observed characteristics. What we don't know is far more extensive. We don't know the exact age of the object. We don't know what's causing the electromagnetic interference. We don't know if the geometric features are intentional or coincidental. We don't know what's inside it, if anything. And we don't know if we'll ever get real answers. The Baltic Sea anomaly sits there 300 feet down in cold, dark water, waiting. Is it a quirk of geology? A relic of an ancient civilization? Something else entirely? The truth is, we don't know. And maybe that's what makes it so compelling. Because in an age where we can photograph black holes and land rovers on Mars, there are still mysteries right here on Earth, hidden beneath the waves, defying explanation. The Baltic Sea keeps its secrets, but somewhere in the darkness, the anomaly waits for someone brave enough, curious enough, or funded enough to finally uncover the truth. Thanks for watching. If you found this mystery as fascinating as I did, let me know in the comments what you think this could be. And if there are other unexplained phenomena you want me to investigate, drop those suggestions below. Until next time, stay curious.